Do dooby doo. Oh, echo. That means I got the desktop audio on. Yay! Okay. Now you can just hear me. At least I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? Is anyone there to hear me? I've got myself muted again. Hello! Alrighty then. I can hear myself in the background. Let me do something real quick. Because I've always got to do something. Okay, my Cox, I just want monitor off. Okay, now I can hear what is actually going through the stream, right? With the delay and everything. Cool. Alright, well, Cubs. I'm here. I guess we're going to read. Because, reading is fundamental, or fun if you're mental. Oh, God. Oh, hold on, let me... Okay, bar's open. I don't know if I want to broadcast them on or not, because... I mean, everyone could be, go over and listen to Lestry, because he's interviewing East, and, well, they're talking actual VA work, as opposed to the stuff I do. You didn't hear that? You can tell how serious I am about my craft. Actually, let's switch over to... Let's switch over to VTube for now. Diddly-dum. Diddly-dum. Diddly-diddly-dum. What's not coming up? Wow, glad I didn't do this before. I don't want to open freaking Steam, I just want to open VTube. For freaking sake. Steam is a pain in the ass. Wow, that's some inappropriate audio to hear. Okay. Oh. Why is it... What the hell is with my background now? There we go. I don't need this one right now. Doop. So, how are we doing tonight? We cool? We awesome? You see over there? Hey, way over there? Okay. Now we gotta figure out where we get the permanent eye roll. But anyway. And my mouse sensitivity is shot. Let's do it. I thought I had it set up to microphone pickup. Nope. What the frick? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, wait. That could be it. I need that one. All right. Does my mouth work now? Shows it does. Reload. Ah. Ah. Oh, cool. A little bit better. Huh? Yeah. There we go. My eyes are going crazy though, but no. That's a given. I'm going to always be crazy-eyed until I no longer have to wear glasses, because then, you know, stuff and nonsense. Stuff and nonsense. So, yeah, we're going to read fairy tales, so let me go ahead and broadcast that we're on. Not that, anyone's going to show up or anything. Reach that. I can't type. Vituber of the English persuasion. Tweet. Still. Doop, 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 doop. Okay, close that. It's not doing any more on the Twitters. Okay, then I get to go to here. Get to the self-promotions. Post the self-promotion, because no one gives a rat's ass. Good thing I don't try to be unique or anything, because I am failing at it miserably, apparently. I mean, the only thing I really got going for me is I'm a wolf with a snoot. As all the other wolf guys out there seem to be snootless and kind of human looking. No, I don't want to look at an ad from Adam and Eve. I don't go to that site at all. No. That's complete poppycock. Puppies, cubs, kiddos. And I don't even know what story we left off on. Oh, God. What time is it? It's 9:11. So I kicked it on to stream at. Okay, that's all the sharing I can think of doing. This is what I shared, so yeah. Boop. Friday Night Fairy Tales. Ugh. Ah. Oh, my eyebrows wiggle. Okay. If I get really bored, I'm going to make Kel show up. Maybe I'd actually get audio with Kel in it this time, as opposed to her just being on screen. Ding. Okay. I'll close this out. How you doing, Cubs? It's a good night. You guys chilling, relaxing, doing cool stuff. Bong's on. No, was on. Is Bong on? The Bong song? I don't know. Sorry. Looking at my phone like a bad host. Okay. Let me try one more thing. Where is it? Nope, past it. Oh, it is. Okay, well, let me check just to see if something's doing it. Where does it say connecting? It says it's connected already. I'm not going to post that. Okay. Okay, well, looks like I'm connected. Cool. What? Oh, you. Really? You getting me that way? Oh, now you're on? Okay. Oop. Okay. So, anyway, fairy tales. You want to read one? Hear one? That kind of thing? That's what we do here. Besides, mess with phones that don't want to sync. So, oh, I got a lot of fairy tales left to go. Where were we? Oh yeah, we did the stupid priests trying to prove his soul existed. Okay, so I keep thinking all this time to get the live 2D up and running, and what am I going to do? This. Oh crap! Got the wrong book up. We are doing this one. There we go. We are doing more Brothers Grimm. So, as Brothers Grimm are, of the awesome. Looks like this is one thing that I don't have the live TV, all the live 2D hooked up to. So, yeah. Kind of cool, huh? But this one is the reactive, so whatevs. And does not look like we're going to have any cubs joining us at the moment. Which, is no big surprise to anyone. I should stop smiling when I have the live TV on screen because you can't see what I'm doing anyway. Sounds should be on. Sounds are still broken. Well, crap. Maybe all of them? Yep, sound alerts are still broken. Anything? No. Do I have it turned off on my end? Oh, because I don't have the... I'm a dummy. I didn't have active on my ends, but still. If it's not playing sound, it's not playing sound. Yeah, there was sound. Cool. Okay. So, cubs. Cubbies. Adorable little bundles of fur who should be in bed already, you freaking miscreants. Did it? Still going to be hearing alerts. I guess I could. Oh, no, I don't turn off this audio because then I wouldn't hear the sound alerts. Or would I? I don't know. Anyway. Who's Diva Panda? They're about to read someone too. That doesn't matter, they're not rating me. Oh well. Story time for all you cute cubbies. I'm not going to say whether or not I've gotten anything to drink because it doesn't really matter. Okay. So, we are on page 119 of this wondrous book of Brothers Grimm. It'd be cool if I could switch out the artwork on the book, but I don't want to because that would take away the Kunststoff did my wonderful artwork, and I don't want to not give him any credit for it because they did an awesome fucking job. So, anyway, Cubs. The first story for this evening does not look familiar to me at all, but cool. The Little Magic Table, the Golden Donkey, and the Club in the Sack. That honestly sounds like a really interesting bachelor party. But you Cubs shouldn't know about that. Yeah, no donkey shows for you. Once upon a time, there was a shoemaker who had 3 sons and a goat. The sons had to help him win his trade, and the goat had to nourish them with her milk. In order for the goat to get good, delicious food every day, the sons took turns and led her out to gaze in the meadow. The eldest took her to the churchyard, where the goat jumped about in the grass. In the evening, when he led her home, he asked, "Goat, have you had enough?" The goat answered, "Oh my, I'm stuffed." Enough's enough. Meh, meh. And that's my impersonation of Goat. Thank you very good night. Good evening. Tip your waiters. Nope. Okay. Then let's head for home, the son said, and led it back to the stable and tied it up. The old shoemaker asked the son whether the goat had received enough to eat, and the son answered, "It's really stuffed. It's had enough." However, the shoemaker wanted to see for himself whether that was true, so he went to the stall in the stable and asked, "Goat, have you had enough?" The goat replied, "How can I have eaten enough? I just jumped over mounds real rough. Didn't find one blade of grass 'cause the ground was tough. Meh, meh." Freaking goat. When the shoemaker heard this, he was convinced that his son had lied to him. He became furious, jumped up and took his cane from the wall and gave his son a good beating and sent him away. 'Cause, yeah. The next day, his second son had to take the goat to the meadow and lead it to the very best grass, which the goat completely devoured. In the evening, he asked the goat, "Goat, have you had enough?" "Oh, I'm stuffed. Enough's enough. Meh, meh." Oh, I'm feeling a little sheepish now. Or hungry, one or the other. I haven't had goat for a while. Then let's head home, and he took the goat to the stable and told the old man that the goat was full. Once again, the father went to the stable and asked, "Goat, have you had enough?" "How can I have eaten enough? I just jumped over mounds real rough. Didn't find one blade of grass 'cause the ground was tough. Meh, meh." Meh, 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 meh. The shoemaker became angry and also gave a good beating to his second son and chased him from the house. Finally, the third son had to take the goat to the meadow. He was on his guard and looked for the very best grass. Indeed, there was nothing left when the goat was finished eating. In the evening, the son asked, "Goat, have you had enough?" "Oh my, I'm stuffed. Enough's enough. Meh, meh." "Then let's head home," he said, and took the goat to the stable and assured his father that the goat was full. But the old man went to the stable again and asked, "Goat, are you full?" "How can I have eaten enough? I just jumped over rounds rough. Didn't find one blade of grass 'cause the ground was tough. Meh, meh." So after the father gave his third son a good beating, he chased him from the house. Now the shoemaker wanted to take the goat out by himself, so he tied it with a rope and led it to the middle of the best grass in the meadow, where the goat ate grass the entire day. In the evening, the shoemaker asked the goat, "Goat, have you had enough?" "Oh my, I'm stuffed. Enough's enough. Meh, meh." "Well, let's head home." And he led the goat to the stable. When he tied her up in the stall, he once again asked, "Goat, have you had enough?" Now the goat answered him as usual. "How can I have eaten enough? I just jumped over mounds real rough. Didn't find one blade of grass 'cause the ground was rough. Meh, meh." Meh. As opposed to "Meh." When the shoemaker heard this, he realized that he had driven his three sons away, even though they had been innocent. Consequently, he became so angry with the nasty goat that he fetched his razor and shaved the goat's head until it was bald, and gave it a good whipping. Shaved goat. In the meantime, the eldest son had apprenticed himself to a carpenter, and when he had finished his apprenticeship and wanted to begin his travels, the carpenter gave him a little magic table and told him that he only had to say, "Little table will be covered." And it would be covered with white tablecloth, and on it would be a silver plate with a silver knife and fork, and crystal glass filled with red wine, and all over the most beautiful dishes of food. Upon receiving the gift, he set out to the world, wherever he was, in a field, in a forest, in a tavern, and wherever he set his table down and said, "Little table will be covered," he would then have the most splendid meal. One day he returned to an inn where many guests had already gathered. They asked him whether he wanted to eat with them. He answered, "No, but you should all eat with me." Upon saying this, he set his table down in the room and said, "Little table, be covered." It suddenly stood there covered with the most sumptuous food, and when a dish became empty, a new one appeared immediately in its place, and all the guests were marvelously treated. The innkeeper, however, thought, "If you had such a table, you'd be a rich man." And that evening, as the carpenter was fast asleep and put his little table in a corner, the innkeeper fetched another one that looked just like it and replaced the genuine with it. Early the next morning, the good fellow got up, lifted the little table onto his back, and didn't notice that it was the wrong one. He went home and said to his father, "Don't worry about anything anymore, or concern yourself. I have a little magic table, and we can now live in the luxury for the rest of our days." His father was delighted to hear this and invited all their relatives to their home, and when they all gathered, the son set the table in the middle of the room and said, "Little table, be covered." But the little table remained as empty as it had been, and the son realized that he had been duped and was ashamed of himself. While his relatives, left without drinking and eating, father and son had to resume their usual work. The second son had gone to a miller, and when he had finished his apprenticeship, the miller gave him a donkey, Bricklebrit, as a gift. Whenever one said "Bricklebrit" to this donkey, it would begin to spew gold coins from the front and from the behind. That sounds painful. Bricklebrit. Shitting bricks. After he departed, the young man came to the same tavern where his brother's little table had been stolen from him. He let himself be treated like a prince, and when he was given the bill, he went to the donkey in the stable and said, "Bricklebrit." All at once he had more gold coins than he needed. However, the innkeeper had observed this, and during the night he got up and untied the golden donkey and replaced it with his animal. So in the morning, when the miller's apprentice left with the wrong donkey and didn't realize that it had been deceived, when he returned home to find his father, he also declared, "Enjoy life, I have the donkey Bricklebrick, and you can have as much gold as you wish." Bricklebrick. 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 Should have known as soon as you said the donkey's name, but still. So once again his father invited all their relatives, and a large white cloth was spread out in the middle of the room. Then the donkey was brought to the front of the stable and set onto the cloth. The miller said, "Bricklebrit," but it was in vain. Not a single gold coin appeared. Immediately the son realized that he had been duped. He was ashamed of himself and began to practice his trade to support himself. The third son had gone to a turner. Not Will Turner, but a wood turner, who gave him a sack with a club as a gift. When the young man was ready to go off in travels, whenever he said, "Club, come out of the sack," the club would jump out and dance on people's backs and beat them mercilessly. Now the young turner had heard his brothers had lost their treasures at an inn. Therefore he went to the same inn and said that his brothers had brought with them a little table and a little donkey, Bricklebrit. But what he was carrying in his sack was much more precious and worth much more. The innkeeper was curious, and though he thought all good things come in threes, he wanted to steal the treasure during the night. But the turner had placed the sack under his pillow, and when the innkeeper came and tried to pull the sack out, the young man said, "Club, come out of the sack." At once the club jumped out of the sack and danced with the innkeeper, and beat him so mercilessly that he readily promised to return the little magic table and the donkey Bricklebrit. Once he received them, the youngest son set out for home and brought everything to his father, and lived with him and his brothers in happiness and joy. As for the goat, that nag, she had run off to a foxhole, and when the fox came home and looked in his cave, he saw a pair of large fiery eyes glaring at him. He became so frightened that he ran away and encountered a bear, who said, "Brother Fox, why are you making such a face?" "A gruesome beast is sitting in my cave with fiery eyes." "Well, then I'll drive it out for you," the bear said, and went to the cave. However, when he arrived at the cave and saw the fiery eyes, he too was struck by fear and ran off. Now a bee came flying by and asked, "Why are you looking so pale, bear?" "A gruesome beast is sitting in Fox's cave, and we can't chase it away." Then the bee said, "I'm nothing but a tiny creature, and you don't give me that attention that I deserve, but perhaps I can help you." I had to go for a tiny voice because it is a tiny creature, because bee. So far the story is very confusing. It's been like 4 voices in one so far, but whatever. So the bee flew into the foxhole and stung the goat in a smooth shaven head so that she jumped up screaming, "Meh, meh," and ran away. And to this day nobody knows whatever happened to the goat. I can tell you what happened to the goat. She was tasty. Goat. Anyway, a tailor had 3 sons. What? Okay, this is a new story. New story, same main subject. Okay, so that story, or stories, I mean, freaking goats, man. So, goat that would lie and got 3 people kicked out of their houses. And when it tried to lie to the person that it had pretty much been doing all the lying to anyway, got his head shaved. And that's the last we see of the goat until it's skipped over to an entirely different story. Whereas the boys, they had a separate adventure after getting kicked out of the house. And they tried to bring the riches home and found out that, some innkeeper swindled the fuck out of them. Language warning, injured the fuck out of them. Okay. So, yeah. Moral of the story: don't believe the goats. They lie. Lying goats. I swear I'm not drunk. Anyway, there's apparently another version of it. So I'm going to read all of it too, because why not? Okay. What? Boop. I heard boops. Oh, that was Discord boops. And absolutely nothing pertaining to me, so I will continue. Ouch. Meh, meh. God, that's not. I can't say meh meh without sounding horny. Okay. Okay. Glad I'm cheering myself up. No one else will do it for you, honestly. No one is in my stream yet, so no big surprise there. Okay. And another version of the Golden Trio, I guess. Is the other one a tailor? I think it was a tailor. Oh. A tailor had 3 sons whom he wanted to send off into the world with one after another. They were supposed to learn an honest living. Since he didn't want them to leave empty-handed, each was given... What? Okay, let's try this again. A tailor had 3 sons whom he wanted to send off into the world, one after the other. They were supposed to learn an honest living. Since he didn't want them to leave empty-handed, each was to receive a pancake and a penny. Because, pancakes and pennies are necessary for survival in the world, really. The eldest set out and encountered a little man who lived in a nutshell. He's a nut. However, he was enormously rich and said to the tailor's son, "If you look after my herd on the mountain and will protect it, you'll receive a good gift from me. However, you must be aware of the house at the foot of the mountain. There are a lot of merry things going on there. You can always hear music and shouting and dancing. If you enter that house, then you can forget about working for me." Sounds like a fun place. All right, then. The tailor's son agreed, drove the herd up the mountain, and looked after it diligently, and always kept far away from the house. However, one time on a Sunday, he heard how much fun people were having inside, and he thought, "One time won't hurt." So he went inside, danced, and was delighted. But when he went outside again, it was night, and the entire herd had disappeared. So he went to his master with a heavy heart and confessed to him what he had done. The man in a nutshell was immediately angry, because, why the hell not? However, since the young man had served him as diligently, and since he confessed his mistake openly, he gave him a magic table as a gift. Oh, there's a magic table for the story. How do you fit a magic table in a nutshell, or do I want to know? Oh. In a nutshell, that's a weird story. In another nutshell, we're continuing. The tailor's son was deeply grateful, and set out on his way home to his father. Along the way, he stopped at an inn and asked the innkeeper to give him a special room. Ooh, a special room. He told him that he didn't need any food and locked himself in the room. The innkeeper wondered what strange guest was going to do in the room. So he sneaked upstairs and looking through the keyhole. All at once he saw how the stranger set a small table in front of him and said, "Little table, cover yourself," because the table was naked. As soon as he had said that, the best food and drink appeared before him, and the innkeeper thought that the little table would be better in his hands. So in the night, when the stranger was fast asleep, he fetched the magic table and replaced it with another one that looked just the same. In the morning, the tailor's son departed, and didn't notice that he had been deceived. When he returned home, he told his father about his good fortune, and the old man was happy and wanted to test the miraculous table right away. Okay. Damn, Oni Jirenden has more people watching than Bob Ross? What the hell is wrong with this world? Never mind. Shouldn't say that. One of them is dead, one of them is left out. Wanted to see the miraculous table right away. But when his son spoke the words, "Little table, cover yourself," it turned into an anime girl and ran away. No. A few times it was to no avail. The table remained empty, and the young man realized that he had been robbed. Now the second son received his pancake and a penny, and went into the world to do better things. He too came upon a man in a nutshell, and served him faithfully a long time, but he let himself be led astray. He went into the house, had fun, danced, and lost the herd. So he had to take his leave, but gave the man blah, 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 blah. Ouch. So he had to take his leave, but the man gave him a donkey. Whenever he said to the donkey, "Rattle and shake yourself, spew gold from behind and from the front." Why does it have to come from the behind? I don't want donkey-ass gold. What the hell is people feeding to a donkey to get ass gold? Any donkey VTubers out there? Can I go up to them and ask them if Bricklebrick means Bricklebrett means anything to them? Bricklebrick. Oh, that would be like really awkward. Bricklebrick. Okay. Hey, donkey! Bricklebrick! What you talking about, no Bricklebrick? Okay, sorry. I promise I'm not drunk. I haven't had any alcohol at all today, really. Maybe I should. Calm me down. Okay. Rattle and shake yourself. Spew gold from behind and from the front. Gold rained from all sides. Wow. The second son set out for home with the great treasure, but he stopped at the inn. The innkeeper replaced the donkey with a common one. And when the young man returned home and wanted to make his father rich, it was all over. His good fortune was ruined. Bricklebrit! Finally, the third son was equipped with a pancake and a penny. Equipped? How do you equip a pancake? Is it a pancake plus one? And a penny. I mean, anyway, yeah, okay. Equipped with a pancake and a penny, and went into the world. It's dangerous there. Go with this. Take a pancake and a penny. What the? And he promised to do better. He served the man in the nutshell faithfully, and in order to prevent himself from entering the dangerous house, he stuffed his ears with cotton. And when a year of service had been completed, he delivered the entire herd to the man, and not one animal was missing. When the little man said, "I must give you a special reward. Here's a satchel. There's a club in it. As soon as you say, 'Club, get out of the satchel,' it will jump out and cause a great deal of pain." Um, yeah, that could come in handy, I guess. It's like, club, can you, get out of the satchel? Oh, yeah, baby, harder. Oh, ow, 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 ow. Okay, hold on. The third son was set out for home and stopped at the inn and saw the innkeeper who had taken his brother's gifts. He threw his satchel on the table and spoke about his brothers. One of them had a little magic table, the other a golden donkey. "And that's quite good, But nothing compared to what I have in the satchel. It's the most valuable thing in the world. A cudgel." The innkeeper became curious and hoped to get this treasure as well. When night came, the third son laid him down on straw and placed the satchel beneath his head. The innkeeper stayed awake and waited until he thought the third son was as fast asleep. Then he went and fetched another satchel and wanted to pull out the satchel from the younger from under the young man's head. However, the third son had stayed awake, and when he noticed the innkeeper's hand, he cried out, "Club, get out of the satchel!" The innkeeper was certainly confused. All at once the club jumped out and fell upon the innkeeper, and beat him so badly that he fell upon his knees and screamed for mercy. Mercy! However, the third son refused to let the club stop until the thief returned the little table and the golden donkey. Then he set out for home with all three magic gifts to join his brothers, and from then on they lived with their wealth and in happiness. The father always said, "I didn't provide them with my pancake and a penny for nothing." What? That better be a damn good pancake. Not some maple syrup. No, he didn't give him syrup, he just gave him a penny. How much maple syrup could you get for a penny back then? Ooh, there's a quandary. Did they have maple syrup in Germany at this time? Did they eat pancakes without syrup? Okay, now I'm just just regular pancakes. Okay, well, yeah. Oh, things get worse. There's another version of it. The tablecloth, the knapsack, the cannon hat, and the horn. What the hell is a cannon hat? That kind of blows my mind. Get it? Get it? Get it? Cannon hat blows my mind. Ah, you use piece of crap sound effect. Okay. Once there were three brothers from the region of the Black Mountains. I want to go there. Originally, they were very poor and traveled to Spain, where they came to a mountain completely surrounded by silver. Oh, that's nice. The oldest brother took advantage of the situation by gathering as much silver as he could carry and went back home with his booty. How big is his booty going to be when he has to carry all that silver back to Black Forest? Booty? He got the booty. Okay. The other two continued traveling, and some came to a mountain where nothing could be seen but gold. One brother said to the other, "What should we do?" The second took as much gold as he could carry, and his brother had done, and went home. However, the third wanted to see if he could have even better luck and continued on this way. He walked for 3 days and encountered an enormous forest. After wandering about for some time, he became tired, hungry, and thirsty, and couldn't find his way out of the forest. So he climbed a tall tree to see if he could catch a glimpse of the end of the forest. However, he saw nothing but the tops of trees. His only wish now was to fill his body to fill his body once more, and he began climbing down the tree. When he got to the bottom, he noticed a table covered with many different dishes beneath the tree. He was delighted by this and ate until he was full. First rule of fairy lore: don't eat food in the forest, especially if it appears out of nowhere. Anyway, after he was finished eating, he took the tablecloth with him and moved on. Whenever he got hungry or thirsty again, he opened the tablecloth, and whatever he wished for would appear on it. After a day's journey, he encountered a charcoal burner who was burning coals and cooking potatoes. Oh, the charcoal burner invited him to be his guest, but he replied, "No thanks, but if I want you to be my guest." "How is that possible?" the charcoal burner asked. "You don't seem to be carrying anything with you." "That doesn't matter. Just sit down here." Then he opened his tablecloth, and soon there was everything and anything one could possibly wish for. The charcoal burner enjoyed the meal and wanted to have the tablecloth. After they had eaten everything, he said, "How'd you like to trade with me? I'll give you an old soldier's knapsack for the tablecloth. If you tap it with your hand, a corporal and 6 men armed from top to bottom will come out each time you tap. You're no help to me in the forest, but I'd certainly like the tablecloth." Well, there's something for Alfie. It's a military knapsack that you tap it and officers pop out of it. Cool. They made the trade. The charcoal burner kept the tablecloth, and the man from the Black Mountains took the knapsack. However, no sooner had the man gone some distance than he tapped the knapsack, and out popped the war heroes. "What does the master want?" "I want you to march back and fetch my tablecloth I left behind for the charcoal burner." What an asshole. Though I guess it would be better to have food than army. Oh well. So they returned to the charcoal burner and then brought back the tablecloth. In the evening, he went to another charcoal burner who invited him to supper. He had the same potatoes without grease. Ooh, greaseless potatoes. But the man from the Black Mountains opened his tablecloth instead and invited him to be his guest. Nobody could have wished for a better meal. When it was over, the charcoal burner also wanted to make a trade. He gave the man a hat for the tablecloth. If the man turned the hat on his head, cannons would fire and an entire battalion of soldiers and batteries were right on the spot. What the hell? Why are these charcoal burners finding this weird ass magic soldier summoning gear? Anyway, when the man from the Black Mountain had gone some distance, he tapped the old knapsack again, and the corporal and his 6 men were ordered to fetch the tablecloth again. Now, when the man continued in journey in the same forests, and the evening came upon him, the third charcoal burner, who invited him to eat potatoes without grease like the others, then they negotiated, and the charcoal burner gave the man a little horn for the tablecloth. If the man blew on it, all the cities and villages, as well as fortresses, would collapse into heaps of rubble. Why would you want something like that? Oh well. The charcoal burner didn't get to keep the tablecloth any longer than the other two, for the corporal and his 6 men soon came and fetched it. Now, when the man from the Black Mountains had everything together, he returned home and intended to visit his brothers, who had become rich from the gold and silver. When he went to them wearing an old tattered coat, they refused to recognize him as their brother. So he immediately tapped his knapsack and had 150 men march out to give his brothers a good thrashing on their backs. The entire village came to their aid, but they could do very little in this affair. News soon reached the king, who sent a military squad to take the soldiers prisoner. But the men from the Black Mountains kept tapping the knapsack and had an infantry and cavalry march out. They defeated the military squad and forced it to retreat. The following day, the king had even more soldiers sent to bring an end to the old guy. However, he kept tapping the knapsack until he had an entire army. In addition, he turned the hat a few times, and cannons fired, and the enemies were defeated and took flight. Finally, peace was made, and he was appointed the viceroy and awarded the princess for his bride. What the hell? Anyway. However, the princess was constantly bothered by the fact she had to take such an old guy for a husband. Her greatest wish was to get rid of him. Every day she tried to discover the source of the power that he used to his advantage. Finally, since he was so devoted to her, he revealed everything to her. She managed to talk him into giving her his knapsack, whereupon she forced him out. Afterward, when the soldiers came marching against him, his men were defeated. However, he still had his little hat, so he turned it and the cannons fired. Once again, he defeated the enemy and peace was made. After this, he was deceived by the princess, talked him into giving her his little hat. Now, when the enemy attacked him, he had nothing left but his little horn. So he blew it, and the villages, cities, and fortresses collapsed instantly in heaps of rubble. Then he alone was king, and blew his horn until he died. What the fuck, Cubs? He was like the youngest of the three. How did he get... Oh, he did wander the forest for who knows how long, because it doesn't really say. Yeah. La 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 la. I gotta do this. Gotta do it. Seriously. walking through a forest and, like, essentially stealing stuff from an old dude. I mean, come on, folks, really. The tablecloth would have been enough for most people. I'm not going to lie. The tablecloth would have been more than enough for me. Hi there, handsome. Anyway, I can't believe I just did that. Okay, get back out there. Yeah. Anyone in chat? Anyone? Anyone? Not at all? No? Just me? Talking to myself. Oh, I'm talking to myself. Yeah, well, guess I'll continue. Next story is Mrs. Fox. Oh, hello. Interesting. Where did this one come from? Anyway, once upon a time, there was an old fox with 9 tails. Since he wanted to know how faithful his wife was, he stretched himself out beneath the bench and pretended that he was dead as a dormouse. Then his wife, Mrs. Fox, went downstairs into her room and locked the door. Her maid, the cat, was sitting on the hearth and cooking. When it became known now that the old fox had died, there was a knocking at the door. "What are you doing, my fine maiden cat? Are you awake? Where are you at?" The cat went to the door and opened it. A young fox stood outside. "I'm sleeping. I'm awake. I'm not sleeping. I'm awake. I'm cooking warm beer and butter cake. Would the gentleman like to be my guest?" "No, thank you. But what is Mrs. Fox doing?" "Mrs. Fox is up in her room until it's late, and she yammers about her fate. She weeps until her eyes are silky red, all because Mr. Fox is dead." "Well, tell her a young fox is here who'd like to court her." So the cat went up the stairs. Tippity-tap, tippity-tap. Kitty go tippy-tap upstairs. She opened the door. Clippity-clap. "Mrs. Fox, are you there?" "Yes, my little cat, I'm here." "There's a young fox outside who wants to court you." And Mrs. Fox said to her, "My child, what's he look like to you?" "He does also have 9 bushy tails like blessed Mr. Fox." Oh no, he only has 1 tail." "Then I don't want him." So the cat went down the stairs and sent the suitor away. Soon after, there was another knocking at the door, and it was another fox that had 2 tails. And the same thing happened to him that happened to the first fox. Afterwards comes another with more tails than the previous fox, until a suitor came with 9 tails. Now Mrs. Fox said to the cat, "Open the door and the gate quite wide, and drag old Mr. Fox inside." They left him outside all this time? But when they were just about to hold the wedding, old Mr. Fox reappeared. Within seconds, he threw the entire crowd out of the house and chased Mrs. Fox away. The fuck? You played dead for, like, the 9th suitor to show up, and then... Damn it, foxes. Okay, here's another one. Old Mr. Fox died, and a suitor, a wolf, came to the door and knocked. "Good day, Miss Cat von Kerwitz. How come you're sitting there alone? What are you making? It smells so good." "Hello, Miss Kitty." Cat. "I'm making porridge out of milk and bread. Does a gentleman desire not to be fed?" The wolf. "No, thanks. Is Mrs. Fox at home?" "No, she sits up in her room until it's late and yammers all about her hard, cruel fate. She weeps about her misery until her eyes are silky red, all because Mr. Fox is dead. If she wants to have another husband now, tell her I'm here and have her come down. So the cat went up the stairs to find her way, through the hallway after hallway, until she came upon a very large room packed full of things, where she knocked on the door with her 5 golden rings. Mrs. Fox, are you inside? If you want a husband right now, then you should come down. Please come down. Mrs. Fox, is the gentleman wearing red pants, and does he have a pointed mouth? No? Then he's of no use to me. Now the wolf was rejected, and afterward a dog came, and he was treated the same way. Then came a moose, a rabbit, a bear, a lion, and all the animals in the forest, because vixens are pretty fucking hot. No, not gonna lie, I do like vixens. I like wolf goes more, but damn, vixens be hot. Vixens be hot, yo. But they were all lacking something that the old fox had possessed, and that cat had to send them all away. Finally, a young fox came. Mrs. Fox. Is the gentleman wearing red pants, and does he have a pointed mouth? Yes. Well, then, let him come up. But first, clean my room, and throw Mr. Fox out the window. Damn! He brought many a fat mouse into the house, but ate them alone. The nasty old louse. He never gave me one to eat in this house. Now the wedding was held, and they danced, but if they hadn't stopped dancing, they're still dancing. What? Seriously, I want that as a pickup line. Let me remember it. Damn it. If she wants a husband now, tell her I'm here and have her come down. Haha. Okay, now I just have to remember that I put it there. I want to say it again. If she wants another husband now, tell her I'm here and have her come down. Okay, gotta do it. Hope it works. Okay. Camera, cooperate. Tell her if she wants another husband now, tell her I'm here and have her come down. Oh, yeah. I like that recording. Okay. That is such a freaking line. Okay. The next one is we've done 13 pages. Nice. We started on 119. We're at 132. Okay. The Elves. Okay. That was in the Shoemaker, apparently. So, about the shoemaker for whom they did the work. A shoemaker. Where are all my freaking bookmarks? Because I bookmarked that damn page. Cause I know I'm going to forget that line. As awesome as it is. Okay. It's now bookmarked. Okay. If she wants a husband now, tell her to come down. Okay. Come up and see me sometime. A shoemaker had become so poor that he didn't have enough leather to make a single pair of boots. In the morning, he cut out the shoes that he planned to work on the next day. However, when he got up the next day and was about to sit down to do his work, he saw the 2 shoes had been finished and beautifully made, standing on a table. Soon a customer paid so well that the shoemaker was able to purchase enough leather for 2 pairs of shoes, which he cut out that evening. The next morning, when he once again wanted to sit down and do the work, they were already finished, just as the pair had been done before the other day. Now he was able to purchase enough leather for 4 pairs of shoes from the money he'd received from the 2 pair. And so it went. Whatever he cut out that evening was finished in the morning, and soon he would be a well-to-do man again. Now, one evening right before Christmas, after he had cut out many shoes and wanted to go to bed, he said to his wife, "We should stay up one time and see who does our work in the nights." So they lit a candle and hid themselves in the corner of the room behind the clothes that had been hung up there and watched closely. At midnight, 2 cute little naked men came and ran... naked men. Naked shoemakers. Woohoo! Okay. At midnight, 2 cute little naked men came and sat down on the workbench, took all the cut-out pieces of the shoes, and worked so swiftly and nimbly that the shoemaker could not take his eyes off of them. No, he was looking at their naked butts. Indeed, they were incredibly fast, and he was amazed. They didn't stop until they had finished the work with all the shoes. Then they scampered away, and it wasn't even day yet. Now the shoemaker's wife said to him, "Little men have made us so rich, we ought to show them we're grateful. I feel sorry for them running around without any clothes and freezing. I want to sew shirts, coats, and jackets and trousers for them, and you should make a pair of shoes for each one of them." The shoemaker agreed, and when everything was finished, they set out the things in the evening. They wanted to see what the little men would do and hid themselves again. Then the little ones appeared as usual at midnight, and they saw the clothes lying there. They seemed to be quite pleased. They put on the clothes extremely quickly, and when they were finished, they began to hop and jump and dance. Finally, they danced right out the door and never returned. "Master has given Dobby a sock. Dobby is free." Well, honestly, they gave naked elves clothes, and they partied and left and didn't come back. So, house elves. Dobby is free. Anyway, let's continue to the next story, shall we? About a servant girl who acted as a godmother. What? Okay then. A poor maiden was industrious and swept the dirt from the door from a very large house every day. One morning she found a letter lying in front of the door, and since she couldn't read, she brought it to her employers. The letter was an invitation to the maiden from the elves, who asked her to be a godmother for one of their children. The maiden thought about this for a while, but after her employers convinced her that she couldn't refuse the invitation, she said yes. Soon after, 3 elves came and led her to a hollow mountain. Everything was small there, and so incredibly dainty and splendid. The mother was lying on a black ebony bed with pearl knobs. The covers were embroidered with gold. The idol was cravery. The cradle was ivory. The bathtub was made of gold. When the maiden performed her duties as a godmother, and then wanted to depart right after doing this, the elves asked her to remain with them for another 3 days. She spent those days with great joy, and when they were over and wanted to return home, they filled her pockets with gold and led her back out of the mountain. And when she came to her home, she realized it hadn't been 3 days, but she'd been gone a whole year. Because fairies. Duh. Honestly, fairy time limits. I mean, she was inside the Hollow Mountain. And anyone who knows if you're inside the Hollow Mountain, time is. You crossed into the Fey realm, and time does not work the same way. Not that I would have a, personal knowledge of dealing with fairies or anything like that. I'm just a wolf. Yeah, just a wolf. That's me. Canis lupus. Canis lupus immortalis, but it's Canis lupus. These dudes are fairy tales. Of course I know them. Duh. Where do you think I came from? Naughtians are awesome. Okay, here we go. About a woman whose child they had exchanged. Oh, another changeling one. Cool. The elves had taken a mother's child from the cradle and replaced the baby with a changeling who had a fat head and glaring eyes, and who would do nothing but eat and drink. Oh, like every other baby. So, fat babies do nothing but eat and drink. Yeah, sounds about right. In her distress, the mother went to her neighbor and asked her for advice. The neighbor told her to carry the changeling into the kitchen and put him down on the hearth and light a fire, and boil water and 2 eggshells. That would cause the changeling to laugh, and when he laughed, he would lose his power. The woman did everything the neighbor said and put the eggshells filled with water on the fire. The block-headed changeling said, "Now I'm as old as a wester wood, and all my life I've never seen eggshells cooked as these have been." And the changeling had to laugh about all of this, and as soon as he left, the crowd of elves came all at once. They brought the right child with them and placed him beside the hearth and carted off the changeling. How hard is it to boil water in eggshells? I mean, they're water tight, I guess, but how'd you get them to sit there long enough to actually boil water in them? Anyway, we've been at this, well, I'm going to say we've only been reading an hour because it's like an hour 19. And we goofed off for the first, well, I say we. The royal we, that would be me. Okay. The Robber Bridegroom. A princess was pledged to marry a prince, and he asked her many times to come once and visit him in his castle. But since the way to the castle led through a large forest, she continually refused because she feared she might lose her way. If that was her concern, the prince told her, he would readily help her by tying a ribbon to each tree so that she could find her way. Nevertheless, she tried to postpone the trip for some time since she inwardly dreaded it. Finally, she couldn't make any more excuses and had to set out one day on the journey. It took her an entire day to walk through the long, long forest. When she finally arrived at a large house, everything was quiet inside, and only an old woman sat on the front door. "Can I help?" This is Princess, okay. "Can you tell me whether the prince, my bridegroom, lives here?" "It's good, my child, that you have come now," responded the woman, "because the prince is not at home. Before your arrival, I had to fetch water and pour it into a large kettle. They want to kill you, and afterward they eat you and cook you and eat you. Because princesses be tasty, yo." I'm not going to say anything about my possible indiscriminate past occupations of eating princesses. Princesses, damn it, they're just so freaking sweet. No, they used to be. Now they're more queens, honey. Just as she was saying this, the prince could have been seen returning from robbery with his villainous band of robbers. Ooh. Fortunately, the old woman took pity on the princess because of her youth and beauty, and before anyone had noticed her, she said, "Quick, go down into the cellar and hide yourself behind the large barrel." No sooner did the princess dash down into the cellar than the robbers also went down there, dragging the old woman whom they had captured. The princess saw clearly that it was her grandmother, for she could see everything that happened from the corner without being noticed. The robbers grabbed hold of the old grandmother and killed her, and pulled off her rings from her fingers, one after the other. However, one gold ring on her fingers wouldn't come off, so the robbers took a hatchet and chopped off the finger. But the finger sprang behind the barrel, right into the princess's lap. After the robbers had searched in vain for the finger, a long time, one of them spoke out. "Has anyone looked behind the large barrel?" "It's better if we continue searching when there's more light," another said. "Early tomorrow morning we'll continue looking, and then we'll soon have the ring." Soon thereafter the robbers lay down and sleep in the cellar, and as they were sleeping and snoring, the bride came out from behind the barrel. The robbers were lying there in a row, and she had to step over them sleeping men until she came to the door. She cautiously entered the rooms in between, and she was constantly afraid she might wake someone, but fortunately nothing had happened. And once she reached the outside door, there was a forest again. She followed the ribbons, for the moon shone brightly enough to see and to find her way home. She told her father everything that happened to her, and he immediately gave orders for the entire regiment to surround the castle as soon as the bridegroom was to arrive. The soldiers did as he ordered, and then the bridegroom came the next day and asked why the princess had not come to him, as she had promised to do. Then she said, "I had such a dreadful dream. I dreamt I came to a house where an old woman was sitting in front of the door. And she said to me, 'What a good thing it is, my child, that you have come now, because nobody is home, and I must tell you, I had to carry water to a large kettle. They want to kill you and boil you and eat you.' And as she was speaking, the robbers came home. Then before she could notice, the old woman said, 'Quick, go down into the cellar and hide behind the large barrel.' No sooner did I hide behind the barrel than the robbers came down to the cellar and dragged the old woman with them. Then they grabbed all of her and murdered her. After they had murdered the woman, they pulled off all the rings from her fingers, one after another. But they couldn't pull off the gold ring from one of the fingers, so the robbers grabbed the hatchet and chopped off the finger and flew in the air, and fell behind the barrel right into my lap. And here's the finger!" Bum, bum, bum. Damn it. "Here's the finger!" Come on. Good Lord, sound effects. The hell. Upon saying this, the princess suddenly drew the finger from her pocket. When the bridegroom heard and saw this, he became chalk white from fright. He immediately thought of fleeing and jumped through the window. However, there were guards standing beneath the window. They caught the bridegroom and his entire band of robbers. All of them were executed as payment for the villainy. 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 If she wants a husband now, tell her I'm here and never come down. Okay. Okay, Cubs, I'm going to do one more story because it's only a page and a half and we're getting to the hour and a half point. Well, that's, reasons. Anyway, Herr Korbes. Once upon a time, there was a little hen and a little rooster who wanted to take a trip together. So the little rooster built a beautiful wagon with 4 red wheels and hitched 4 little white mice to it. Then the little hen climbed into the wagon along with the little rooster, and this is how they drove off. Soon they came across a cat who asked, "Where are you going?" "We're off to see Herr Korbes today. We're off without delay." "Take me with you?" said the cat. "Gladly," answered the little rooster. "Sit in the back so you won't fall off in the front." "Yeah." "Be sure to take good care, for I've got clean red wheels down there. Roll on, you wheels, hi-ho! Squeak, squeak, you mice, hi-ho! We're going to see Herr Korbes today. We're off without delay." Hi-ho. Soon a millstone came, followed by an egg, a duck, and a pen, and a sewing needle. All who got... That's a big freaking wagon. Okay, soon a millstone came, followed by an egg, a duck, a pen, a sewing needle, all of who got into the wagon to ride along. However, when they arrived at Herr Korbes' house, he wasn't there. The little mice pulled the wagon into the barn. The little hen and the little rooster flew up on the perch. The cat settled down on the hearth. The duck took place in the well sweep. The egg wrapped itself in a towel. What? The pen stuck itself in a chair cushion. The sewing needle jumped down the high bed into a pillow. And the millstone climbed on top of the door. What the hell? When Herr Korbes came home, he went to the hearth to make a fire. But the cat threw ashes right into his face. He ran quickly to the kitchen to wash off the ashes. But the duck splashed water in his face. And he tried to dry himself with a towel. The egg rolled towards him and broke open so that his eyes became glued shut. Now he wanted to rest and sit down in a chair, but the pen stuck him. This made him very irritated, so he went to lay down in his bed, but the sewing needle stuck him just as his head hit the pillow. He became so angry and mad that he wanted to run out of the house. Just as he got to the front door, however, the millstone jumped down and killed him.
Well, that is very confusing. I mean, why would this so many things? So it's by attack to be there.
Yeah.
If I would. I mean, what happened to the chickens? Just wanted to visit a friend. I mean, they get to his house and he's not there, so whatever. They go ahead and get on the perch. Everyone else just goes all around the house, and they just end up making it a death trap for poor Herr Korbes. And they became so angry and mad that they wanted to run out of the house. And they got killed by this freaking millstone jumping off the door. I mean, what happened to the little rooster and the little hen? I mean, the wagon and the mice went into the carriage, but still.
Okay, I think I'm done. Oh, freaking A. Um,
Dr. Doofenshmirtz, I am not.
uh, that would be cool if I did that, but yeah. Anyway, I really can't think of anything else to do tonight, Cubs. Uh, okay. Anyone on to raid or stuff? Lester is still chatting, and I guess he still is. Let me make sure. And Bong is drawing. No, Bong is not drawing. Well, I guess technically he's drawing cards because he's playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Uh, oh, son. And Sanica, the adorable young blue perrito, is playing D&D. What? What is she doing? And I miss playing D&D. I don't want to rate her. She's playing a game, so I'm going to go dump some channel points on Wong. Wong. How many channel points do I have right now? Damn, he's already got his new artwork set up? Man, I don't have 260. That sucks. I was just drawing that PNG the other day. Oh, well, yeah, let's... I don't know if I want to do Nestry or Bong. Because Lestri's at least doing voice-related stuff, so yeah, let's do them. Just have to raid the VA. Oh, Lestry VA. Hope I typed it right. Raid has been cancelled. What? Oh, great. Duh. Okay. Well, Cubbies. Been real. It's been time. Hasn't been, well, whole lot of stuff, but yeah. Yeah, hour and a half is fine. And let's go back into listen to them since they were cool and stuff. Later. Ta. Have a good night. Turn that off.